ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपाग्रामयं ददति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलान् श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमामि विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे पञ्चकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्ता काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये हे श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर सादिगौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। Let me know if my audio is okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Let me do one more thing.
Yeah, we are not able to see a video.
Yeah, I'm just trying to set up things. Actually, there is some problem. So let's see what can be done. You can hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. While things come up, let me start already. Because there is some issue with my failed to start the video camera. Okay. Okay, I'm starting. There seems to be some driver issues. I don't know why, but or do you want me to restart the system and try again?
Yes, Prabhuji.
I'll restart the system.
Yes, Prabhuji.
I don't know why it happened. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
While things are are you able to see the screen as well?
Yes, Roji.
I hope this is going fine. Let me continue whatever may happen. Able to see me also?
Yes, Roji.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Chapter 50, Volume 2, Śrīla Prabhupāda-līlāmṛta. The Lame Man and the Blind Man. Ever since the BBT press marathon in the summer of 1975, the press had continued to keep up with Srila Prabhupada's writing. A sweet transcendental competition had developed between Prabhupada, his press, and the book distributor. In November of 1975, Prabhupada had returned to one of the leading book distributors. I think if we read this part, I don't know till how much. Can someone say? Huh?
No Prabhuji.
You don't
No idea.
recollect.
Haribol?
No, Roji, I don't recollect, Roji.
Oh.
Sorry.
Okay. The BPT says that they are publishing at the speed of my translating and that you will distribute at the pace of publishing. That's nice. But still, I'm ahead in my translation work. They owe me now the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. I am working already on the 7th canto. In recent months, however, Srila Prabhupada's literary output had been diminishing, mostly because of his involvement in management. His direct supervision of the contribution in Bombay, his month-long managerial drive in Vrindavan, his struggle to heal a major ISKCON schism, such activities were not conducive to writing. In Mayapur, when the devotees had failed to control the slamming of the doors, he had complained bitterly that this heart-cracking sound interrupted his meditative translating. He explained that he sometimes thought of for 2 or 3 days about a single purport before actually writing it. Actually, the word translating is incomplete in describing Srila Prabhupada's writing. Translating involved only the verses and synonyms, but Prabhupada's deepest meditation, what he referred to as his personal ecstasies, were his Bhaktivedanta purports. Composing the purports as well as translating the verses came best when he could think about them throughout the day, not just when he turned on his dictating machine at 1 a.m. He was translating the extremely grave and complex Vedic knowledge into a modern context, thus making it understandable to the Western readers, and it was a great demanding task to best speak to people of work of the world through his Srimad Bhagavatam writings. Srila Prabhupada required a very conducive situation. After the Mayapur festival, therefore, he formulated an itinerary that in about a month's time would bring him to Hawaii. There he expected to find an atmosphere beneficial for his literary work. His traveling secretary Pushta Krishna Swami wrote ahead to Hawaii shortly after the Mayapur festival. Prabhupada must do a lot of translating, so don't set up programs outside. If there have to be guests, it must be restricted to 5 p.m. only until about 6:30 each evening. If these things are nicely arranged, then Prabhupada will stay some time to translate. Since Prabhupada's itinerary also included another US tour, his secretary wrote ahead to Kirtanananda Swami in New Vrindavan. Prabhupada has arrived a bit more about things. Sorry, has revealed a bit more about things. He said that as time goes on, he is less and less concerned about seeing visitors. He mentioned that Aurobindo saw visitors only once a year on his birthday. Although Prabhupada deemed this is not possible now, I asked him where he would like to go for some time to translate. He said New Vrindavan, and he said he would go there after the Rath Yatra in New York. Hawaii, May 3rd, 1976. After brief visits in several Indian cities as well as stops in Melbourne, Auckland, and Fiji, Srila Prabhupada arrived in Hawaii on schedule. Immediately, he began to increase his writing. The devotees were keenly noting the number of digits he ran up each night on his dictating machine, which for them was like a measure of the benediction for all humanity. Whereas in India, he had done usually no more than 100 digits a day, and sometimes none. In Hawaii, his rate jumped to 200 and even 300 days after day. Harisauri, who had accompanied Prabhupada from Vrindavan as his servant, wrote in his diary, Prabhupada is translating like anything now, and he did 290 digits again last night. The temple was in a quiet neighborhood with several acres of garden like property. In the backyard stood a large, stately banyan tree in the front, the largest tulsi bushes anywhere in ISKCON. The devotees grew their own vegetables and flowers. Mangoes and coconuts were so plentiful that they were available free. The weather was sunny, inters- interspersed with occasional showers. Prabhupada felt ill and could not sleep more than 1.5 hours at night and 1 or 2 hours during the day. But being transcendental, he used this inability to sleep as another way to increase his writing time. Despite his emphasis on writing, however, he continued lecturing in the temple, going on morning walks, holding discussions on the beach, and daily answering his mail. Still, Hawaii was far from being like Vrindavan or Calcutta, where all old friends and new admirers demanded hours of his time. Here he was mostly alone with his translating staff. He had been in Honolulu about a week when he announced one morning, walking along Waikiki Beach, that he expected to finish that night the last purport to the seventh canto. When Harisauri expressed his happiness to hear this, Prabhupada replied, Oh, I can finish very quickly, but I have to present it for your understanding. It requires deep thought, very carefully to present it for the common man. That night around 9, Prabhupada called for Harisauri and said that he would not take his evening massage. He wanted the time for finishing the seventh canto. Shutting the door and returning to his desk, he worked all night until 5 in the morning. At the end of the seventh canto, he dictated a closing remark completed on the 9th of Vaishakha Shukla Ekadashi, the 10th of May 1976. Hmm. Today is also 10th May. In the temple of Panchatattva, New Navadvipa, Honolulu, by the mercy of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Thus we may happily chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Immediately, Prabhupada turned to the eighth canto, beginning with a prayer. First of all, let me offer my humble respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. Prabhupada explained that his spiritual master has instructed him at Radhakund in 1935 to stress book production more than temple construction. He had followed that instruction beginning with his starting Back to God magazine in 1944, and in 1958 he had begun Srimad Bhagavatam. As soon as he had um, published 3 volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam in India, he had started for the US in August 1965. I am continuously trying to publish books as suggested by my spiritual master. Now, in this year 1976, I have completed the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and a summary of the 10th canto has already been published as Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Still 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 are yet to be published. On this occasion, therefore, I am praying to my spiritual master to give me strength to finish this work. I am neither a great scholar nor a great devotee. I am simply a humble servant of my spiritual master, and to be the best of my ability, I am trying to please him by publishing these books with the cooperation of my disciples in America. Fortunately, scholars all over the world are appreciating these publications. Let us cooperatively publish more and more volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam just to please His Divine Grace, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Prabhupada said he was making the Bhagavatam understandable for the common man. This did not mean his writings were lacking in substance. They were pure substance, but in the essential spirit of the Bhagavatam itself, Prabhupada was omitting anything extraneous and distracting, selecting from the commentaries of previous acharyas whatever would best impel his readers to pure devotional service. At the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, the author Srila Vyasadeva states that the Bhagavatam excludes all materially motivated forms of religiosity and offers only pure devotional service. Srimad Bhagavatam is therefore called the ripened fruit of the tree of Vedic knowledge, and just as the Bhagavatam is itself the most essential spiritual knowledge, so Srila Prabhupada, in translating and commenting on Bhagavatam, utilized the same spirit of delivering the pure message without any speculation or deviation. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna's to Bhagavan Swayam, Lord Krishna is the supreme person of Godhead, the source of all incarnations, the cause of all causes. And Prabhupada revealed this conclusion on every page. Although some Sanskrit scholars disagreed with Prabhupada's emphasis on Krishna, his Krishnizing of the Sanskrit was not whimsical but followed strictly the ancient tradition of Parampara. Overwhelmingly, those university scholars who seriously read Prabhupada's book appreciated the faithful quality of his Parampara rendering. Reviews came from all over the world. For those who have no access to the Sanskrit language, these books convey in superb manner the message of the Bhagavatam. Dr. Alaka Hejib, Department of Sanskrit and Indian Student Studies, Harvard University. It is a deeply felt, powerfully conceived, and beautifully explained work. I don't know whether to praise more this translation of Bhagavad Gita, its daring method of explaining, or the endless fertility of its ideas. I have never seen any other work on the Gita with such an important voice and style. It will occupy a significant place in the intellectual and ethical life of modern man for a long time to come. Dr. Shaligram Shukla, Professor of Linguistics, Georgetown University. For the first time, we possess a readily accessible editable edition for this great religious classic that will provide opportunity for scholars in Indian literature and followers of the Krishna consciousness tradition alike to compare the original text with the modern English translation and become acquainted with the deeper spiritual meaning of this work through the learned commentary of Sri Bhaktivedanta. Anyone who gives a close reading to the commentary will sense that here, as in his other works, Sri Bhaktivedanta has combined a healthy mixture of the fervent devotion and atheistic sensitivity of a devotee and the intellectual rigor of a textual scholar. At no point does the author allow the intended meaning of the text to be eclipsed by the promotion of a particular doctrinal persuasion. These exquisitely wrote volumes will be a welcome addition to the libraries of all persons who are committed to the study of Indian spirituality and religious literature, whether their interests are sparked by the motivations of scholar, the devotee, or general reader. Dr. J. Bruce Long, Department of Asian Studies, Colon University. This English edition, translated by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, is superb. It contains the original Sanskrit and Bengali verses with their English transliteration, synonyms, translation, elaborate purports, easily bearing testimony to the author's profound knowledge of subject. Dr. O.B.L. Kapoor, Emeritus Chairman and Professor, Department of Philosophy, Government Postgraduate College, Gyanpur, India. The Vedic literature mentions various spiritual paths and forms of yoga, and unless the commentator has realized the highest Vedic conclusion, he can easily miss the essential message of the Bhagavatam. Indeed, impersonalist commentators have attempted to use the Bhagavatam to support their speculation that the individual soul is in all respects one with Supreme, even though this contradicts the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam. As a commentator on the Vedantic literature, Srila Prabhupada was distinguished even among Vaishnava scholars because of his being in disciplic succession from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is glorified as Patita Pavan, as a savior of the most fallen. As a follower and empowered representative of Lord Chaitanya, Srila Prabhupada was faithfully and perfectly carrying on the tradition of rescuing fallen souls, bringing them back to their original Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada's making Bhagavatam's message available, therefore, did not mean mere simplification. It meant urgently addressing the reader to give up the world of illusion and take to eternal liberation of Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada was making available to the average reader spiritual truth that had been hidden and unavailable even to the austere practitioners of yoga and learned Brahmanas proficient in Sanskrit. Old wine in new bottles, Prabhupada called it. The Vaishnavas' arguments against impersonalism had been chalked out by Madhvacharya and Ramanujacharya and later synthesized by Lord Chaitanya in the philosophy of Achintya Bheda simultaneously one and difference. These eternal truths had to be presented in every age, but in the traditional debates between the Vaishnavas and impersonalists, the authoritative basis had always been Vedic scripture. Modern society, however, was so degraded that a preacher could no longer appeal to the authority of Vedic scripture. No one would accept it. Srila Prabhupada's writing, therefore, dealt with such theories as the origin of life by chance, Darwin evolution, and chemical evolution. And he defeated them all with strong logic, establishing that life comes from life, not from dead matter. Prabhupada had dedicated one of his first books, Easy Journey to Other Planets, to the scientists of the world and had even adapted the Bhagavad Gita verses quoted in that book into scientific jargon of matter and antimatter. Deftly, he used both Shastra and logic to establish the Vedic conclusion. Prabhupada's writing Prabhupada's writings also combated the false teaching of bogus yogis, gurus, incarnations who had appeared like a tidal wave of falsity in Kali Yuga, both in India and in the West. His writings criticized modern political institutions, also analyzing why monarchies fell, why democracy was also failing, and how dictatorship would increasingly harass the citizens. The government's policies of abusive taxation and their propaganda to bring people to the cities to work in the factories, abandoning temple, agrarian life, were all discussed in light of scriptures. In his travels, Srila Prabhupada had observed the rampant degradation of human society, sexual liberation, the latest fad intoxications, and the vicious crimes of animal slaughter and meat eating. Bhagavad Gita purport dealt specifically with the threat of nuclear holocaust. Some people are considered the enemies of the world because ultimately they will invent or create something which was which will bring destruction to all indirectly. This verse anticipates the invention of nuclear weapons of which the world is today very proud. At any moment, war may take place, and these atomic weapons may create havoc. Such things are created solely for destruction of the world, and it is indicated here. Due to godlessness, such weapons are invented in human society. They are not meant for the peace and prosperity of the world. Srila Prabhupada's criticisms were strong and authoritative, befitting a true Acharya. His uncompromising spirit was appealing. He was not a timid scholar pointing out some obscure historical references, yet underlining his writing a humble tone of request spoke to the heart. As a servant of the servant of Krishna, he asked everyone to please take up Krishna consciousness and be restored to his original um, constitutional position of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. Prabhupada was making his Prabhupada was making his books practical, but to do so required care and deep meditation. He combined the thoughtfulness of textual scholar with the practical application of transcendental social and political reformer. So many scholars had already presented their English editions of Bhagavad Gita, yet not a single reader had become a devotee of Krishna. Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, as it is, however, was creating thousands of devotees. More than simply rendering valuable Vedic literature, Srila Prabhupada had come to the West starting in New York City to establish a way of life based on that Vedic literature. Consequently, he had gained first-hand experience in bringing the most materialistic persons to the standard of renunciation and devotional service. His books, therefore, reflected these practical realizations, and many times in his purports he would relate his difficulties and triumphs in trying to introduce spiritual principles within materialistic society. In the sixth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, he had presented the story of Daksha's cursing Narada Muni after Narada had instructed Daksha's son in pure Krishna consciousness. The jealous father considered Narada his enemy, had cursed him to be always traveling without any home. In his commentary, Srila Prabhupada had written that he also had been cursed by the parents of his of his disciples. Therefore, despite his having many centers around the world, he had to constantly travel and preach. And in the seventh canto, while commenting on the demon Hiranyakashipu's harassment of his son Prahlad, Srila Prabhupada had related the difficulties of ISKCON devotees in distributing books amid the harassment of Hiranyakashipu's modern counterparts. Thus, Prabhupada was imbuing his literature with the thoughtfulness of his own personality, that of a pure devotee, faithfully dedicating his body, mind, and words in service of the Bhagavatam. As the word Bhagavata refers not only to narrations about the Supreme Lord, but also to the Lord's devotee, Srila Prabhupada was himself Bhagavat. And through his books, one could gain the inspiration of service to both the book and the person Bhagavat. After 2 weeks in Hawaii, Srila Prabhupada was well into 8th canto, averaging up to 300 digits daily. His health improved also, although his sleeping remained minimal. Of course, Prabhupada said reflectively, it is very good from the spiritual point of view if you don't sleep much. When news came of a temple president having difficulty with his GBC authority, Srila Prabhupada saw it as another example of how his writing work, his most important preaching, could be hampered by disruptions. He therefore composed a letter addressing to all the GBC commissioners. My dear GBC disciples, please accept my blessings. Over the past 10 years, I have given the framework, and now we have become more than the British Empire. Even the British Empire was not as expansive as we. They had only a portion of the world, and we have now completed expanding. We must expand more and more unlimitedly. But I must now remind you that I have to complete the translation of Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the greatest contribution. Our books have given us a respectable position. People have no faith in this church or temple worship. Those days are gone. Of course, we have to maintain the temples as it is necessary to keep our spirits high. Simply, intellectualism will not do. There must be practical purification. So I request you to relieve me of management responsibilities more and more so that I can complete the Srimad Bhagavatam translation. If I am always having to manage, then I cannot do my work on the books. It is document. I have to choose each word very soberly, and if I have to think of management, then I cannot do this. I cannot be like these rascals who present something mental concoction to cheat public. So, this task will not be finished without the cooperation of my appointed assistants, the GBC Temple President Sannyasis. I have chosen my best men to be GBC, and I do not want that GBC should be disrespectful to temple presidents. You can naturally consult me, but if the basic principle is weak, how will things go on? So please assist me in the management so that I can be free to finish the Srimad Bhagavatam, which will be our lasting contribution to the world. While maintaining his excellent progress on Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada also got the opportunity in Hawaii to begin another book. His longtime disciple and editor Hayagriva wrote asking to assist Srila Prabhupada in a series of interview commentaries on Western philosophers. This was the same project Prabhupada had begun with his former secretary Shyamasundar, but when Shyamasundar had abandoned his duty in ISKCON, he had also misplaced the tapes and transcripts of considerable work they had done together. Hayagriva proposed to start again, beginning with Socrates and Plato. The process would be that Hayagriva would present before Prabhupada a summary of a particular Western thinker's philosophy. Prabhupada would then respond extemporaneously, giving appreciation and criticism of philosopher according to the Vedic viewpoint. Prabhupada and his disciples had been enthusiastic about the interviews gone in former years, and Prabhupada had even titled the series Dialectical Spiritualism. But when Shyamasundar had misplaced the tapes, the project had dissipated. Now, Hayagriva, the former college English professor and original editor for the Back to Godhead in America, asked to be allowed to come to Hawaii for reviving the philosophy book and for spending time with Prabhupada. Like various other disciples, Hayagriva had given up strictly following the regulative principles. Srila Prabhupada had come to tolerate the reality that some disciples, even after taking vow of initiation, would be unable to resist the strong pull of the senses and would give up the path of active devotional service in ISKCON. In the early years, he and his followers had reacted with great shock whenever a devotee had gone away. But with time, as the unfortunate event had continued to occur, sometimes even striking down leading uh, trusted disciples, Prabhupada had grown to live with it. But he never stopped feeling bereaved over a lost son or daughter, especially if that disciple had rendered him significant service. And he never withheld his affection for them or his open, loving invitation for them to return. Such a case was Haigriva, a dear son who had come to Srila Prabhupada during the summer of 1966 in New York. He had given valuable service but had eventually been unable to follow the simple but strict principles of Krishna consciousness. Now, after suffering the vicissitudes of material life, he had gathered his resolve to come back to his beloved spiritual master. Hayagriva entered Prabhupada's room. It's your old Hayagriva, Prabhupada, he said, and he fell to the floor sobbing. Prabhupada gave him a garland and asked him how he and his family were doing. Then, in the presence of other devotees, Prabhupada related how Hayagriva had been sent by Krishna to help him spread Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. When Hayagriva said he had never forgotten Prabhupada even for a day, Prabhupada replied, and I also never forgot you. I was thinking, has Hayagriva gone away? I was thinking like that. Prabhupada's voice broke. His eyes filled with tears and he could not speak. Finally, he asked everyone to leave the room. Prabhupada and Hayagriva began meeting daily, sometimes for as long as 2 or 3 hours. Dialectical spiritualism was again underway, moving side by side with eighth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. The Hayagriva and Hayagriva was again in his original position as Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet. Although Prabhupada had written to the GBC requesting them to solve ISKCON's problem, he continued to keep informed of problems as his assistants reluctantly reported to him the bad news. One day, a telegram arrived from Madhudvisa Swami, a dynamic GBC manager, the man in charge of ISKCON in one region of US. Madhudvisa was having serious difficulty remaining strong in Krishna consciousness. In most cases, the difficulties of Prabhupada's disciples were urges towards sensuality. Almost never did disciples turn against Prabhupada, nor did they often reject the philosophical conclusion of Krishna consciousness. They simply fell victim to Maya's allurement. Madhutvisa's telegram was a resignation from the GBC. Although he wanted to continue devotional service, he felt forced to resign due to spiritual weakness. The telegram gave no details, but Prabhupada heard rumors that Madhudvisa had an affair and had left the temple. Prabhupada said that this was his god brother's main argument against Westerners taking sannyas. They would not be able to maintain the strict vows. He said that a German god brother of his had also caused disruption by his intimate dealing with women. What can I do? Prabhupada said sadly. I am working with all third class men, fools and rascals. Things are going on simply by Krishna's mercy. Prabhupada sent a telegram back asking Madhvisa to come and speak with him. Although he restrained his emotions, the devotees could see that he was distracted. It was another case of a strong, affectionate bond for a son who had rendered wonderful service, a disciple whom he had patiently trained over the years. Again, the possibility of Prabhupada retiring from active management looked doubtful. Srila Prabhupada said he was trying to engage fools, rascals, anyone to spirit Krishna consciousness. He was unable to find strict followers, but what could be done if someone fell from sannyas? He said that then that person could become a grahastha, but no one should go away. Harish Gauri mentioned the Chaitanya Charitamrita story of Lord Chaitanya and Chota Haridas. From that story, said Harish Gauri, it appeared to be very difficult for a fallen sannyasi to regain the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. One who falls from sannyas, Prabhupada replied, is called Vantasi, one who vomits and then eats it. So if they become grahasthas again, then how can they get Lord Chaitanya's mercy? Asked Harishauri. If the spiritual master gives that facility and makes that arrangement, said Prabhupada, then Krishna will accept the arrangement and later he can again become sannyasi. It had happened before, and Prabhupada mentioned a few cases where he had asked fallen sannyasis to get married and stay in air service. Of course, it is a shameful position, he said, but what can be done? Mr. Sorry, my god brothers and sannyasis in India criticize me for giving Brahman and sannyas initiation and installing deities in the West and allowing women to stay in the temples. But for all that, I am expanding Krishna consciousness, and for all this strictness, they are doing nothing. If I discriminate them, I will again be one alone, and as I was in Vrindavan, and again becoming a mouse. It seems, said Harisauri, that it will take several generations before we can become purified. If one is sincere, Prabhupada replied, he can become purified even within one generation. That same evening, as Prabhupada prepared to stay up all night translating, he was still thinking of Mother Teresa. Nevertheless, he turned to translating the text and the chapter called The Elephant Gajendra's Crisis. The chapter told about the king of elephants, Gajendra, who lived on the heavenly planets. One day, Gajendra was bathing in the river along with his wives when suddenly a crocodile attacked. The crocodile fastened his jaws on Gajendra's leg, and although the elephant was very powerful, he could not release himself from the strong grip of crocodile while in the water. Thereafter, Srila Prabhupada dictated, because of being pulled into the water and fighting for many long years, the elephant became diminished in his mental, physical, and sensual strength. The crocodile, on the contrary, being an animal of water, increased in enthusiasm, physical strength, and sensual power. I can do it very quickly, Prabhupada had said, but I have to meditate. How to prepare it for the common man? How could he convey the significance of this event, which happened millions of years ago between two animals on heavenly planet? How to make it clear and understandable and capture the essence of the significant Sanskrit words and the parampara comments of acharyas like Vishwanath Chakravarti, Sanatana Goswami, and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. In the quiet solitude of this room, Srila Prabhupada began speaking his purport. Let's stop here. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for narrating this. Very nice. Prabhuji, what is the digits? Like 300 digits, 200 digits? So he wrote, he translated. Is it like
I
with
don't know.
the device?
Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's some reference in terms of what do you call this? Typing machine,
Yes,
or even tapes. No, maybe there is
Hmm.
something. Maybe a digit is something like the pause you make before the next start. I don't know. Maybe some reference. Tuck, 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 na, like that.
Yes, Prabhuji, yes. Yes, Prabhuji, a very challenging situation. We see that, yeah, even becoming sannyasi and so on. Na? So it's always chance to fall down. Yes.
Yeah, only association of devotees can save us. We have to be very, very connected together. Only then it's possible to stay. Yeah. And because sannyasis travel a lot, right? Then there is a chance that they may get distracted by anything that is around them. So that can be dangerous. But if you have some association, yeah, that is the reason Grihastha life is very, very safe. And in Grihastha life also, devotee Grihasthas is the best. Because even in Grihasthas, there is a chance that, oh, he may be carried away with so many household duties that he may give up devotion, or there may be so many distractions in one way or the other. There is so many attractions, not only distraction. Distraction is something that deviates. Attraction is something, okay. So all these things need discipline. And when we have discipline, then we can be protected. And that discipline comes when we regularly come together. I think one of the reason, I mean, I'm just thinking of this, why in India, though ISKCON started quite late in India, why it flourished more in India is because of this community development. Yeah, where programs happen like Bhakti Vriksha happens together every week. That devotees come together. They do programs weekly once. Yeah, though it looks hectic, but because of this association, it is actually a protection. No deviations. Yeah, so it's always helpful to see. That's why we see even here the devotees, they may travel 30 kilometers or whatever, make sure that they come together. Might be the Siksha Guru, or what do you call here, the counselors, or mentors. They might chastise why you didn't come this week, why you didn't come last week. The purpose is to make sure that this makes us safe and secure against so many energies around us. Yeah, we know, right? I don't know if Chitramali Mataji is there. She can say how life is in India. I think all of us have gone. We can speak ourselves how conducive it is when we are alone.
Yes, Prabhuji, yes, correct. Yeah. Mhm. Yes, thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much for this wonderful, narration, Prabhuji. I think, yeah, even, wow, I think this point was touched upon. In India, we don't have much time, even for Prabhupada, because we face that practically, Prabhuji. When we are in India, we have a different, schedule, and then when we are here, we are able to focus. So I think it was very,
Yeah,
in one way.
I think I was telling to Rupa, I think today or yesterday, I don't know. Yeah, so what will we do here? When we don't have a group, when we don't have a devotee association, what is the purpose of living here? It's
Yes.
only waste of time. It's only not only waste of time, it's all risky. Yeah. Yeah, it's just a matter of some time. We may get attraction to some things, like for example, uh, there are some who do not want to watch TV at all. But yeah, when you have some time, what to do? I think yesterday I was coming by train, no, day before, no, yesterday only. There is no internet where I could read the book. There is no internet where I can hear the music. All of a sudden, thought came, in phone, what do I have that I can play? Luckily, there was some nice, quiz that I could take and check how good I am. But yeah, I've seen so many in the train. They are just playing some, what do you call this? Crest, Crush Candy, or what is it? I don't know. So many games are there, right?
Crash
Crush
Candy.
Candy. Yeah, so many. Yeah, we don't know how to properly use time. Why? Because we don't have association. We don't have someone to monitor. We don't have someone to inspire. When we are all alone, all whatever things that are in our heart, that are in our mind, in our hand, everything start uh, taking a lead, and we never know to what extent it can go. Yeah, people who do not like daily serials end up seeing only daily serials, nothing else.
Yes,
Anyway.
absolutely. Thank you very much.
That's the reality. So let's all be very careful. It is not like, oh, it's not like I don't need. We should very much think, everyone should think that we really need association, though it is hectic, though it is difficult. I still know one of my friends, when he comes from India to Germany, he can lavishly live in a hotel room. mm, but he doesn't live in the room, but he comes to visit us, he stays with us overnight and then talk. Why? Because in that way he can take some association, he can give association. At the same time, he will be protected, because there is no material thoughts that can come in. There is no material activities, like people may come, hey, let's go to party, let's spend time. All these things won't be there. I still remember, I think recently who shared it? Ananda Vrindavan Prabhu, Jayadvaita Maharaj gave, na? About financial planning. I don't know who shared recently in the group.
Shesha Prabhu
Yeah,
shared.
yeah. You can hear to his classes, yeah, or full or very powerful about how to be very serious so that we make success in this life. Very careful. Yeah, we may think he's too emotional. No, he's very careful. To show, we should also be very careful. Yeah, because he asked Jayadvaita Maharaj in Vrindavan in a Q&A, yeah, how to handle the ego, mm, how to control, how to be humble. These are the questions of great devotees. Where who is always surrounded by so many devotees. Yeah, so many devotees are around him, under his guidance, seeking his instructions. Yeah, yeah, great people. So when we read about them, yeah, again, when we are in association, then only we can hear about them. So, sadhu sang, sarva siddhi hoy. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji. I remember that, I think last year for
Your first
it was,
service.
it was second, Prabhuji. First was Ram Navami, Prabhuji, Sundarakanda.
Acha. Mhm.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
That was your first service for Keshav Maharaj.
Yes, Prabhuji, yes. All by your grace, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yep. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Anything else? Yes. Hare Krishna Dinath Prabhu.
Yeah, very glad to hear your voice again, Prabhuji.
I thought by this I can talk to you all. Yeah, but again, a good opportunity. What else? On Akshay Tritiya about Prabhupada.
Yes,
Mm.
Prabhuji. Yeah.
So, mm,
Prabhuji, so yeah, please take care of your health also. I mean, you are traveling, I think in India also a lot.
yeah. When time comes, traveling is unavoidable.
Yes,
We
Prabhuji.
just
Yeah.
manage it.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Okay. Anyone want to share anything from today?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Lord
Was
Bhagwan Prabhu.
nice, Prabhuji. Yeah, today is auspicious day, and yeah, we again heard Prabhupada-līlāmṛta from you. Yes, Surya, I liked that point much that Śrīla Prabhupada, although he was very feeling sick, and even though he could concentrate, he was translating, he did not stop. Normally, when we are, I am sick, I cannot even focus on anything, even normal day activities, and to think and write. It was a very spiritual platform required.
Yeah.
It was-
For us now, to understand what Prabhupada wrote itself is big thing. For Prabhupada, for Prabhupada, he was making sure that we somehow or the other, get a gist of it. So yeah, we read here, right? He took even 2-3 days to complete one purport. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, without that, I mean, because we have been reading Bhagavatam, hearing Bhagavatam, we can very easily understand what was mentioned in this chapter, right? About Bhagavatam glorification. Yeah, yes. I have seen till now everyone who took to Bhagavatam became very, very serious in the services, very, very fearless in their services, and took up Krishna consciousness very serious. Yeah. All credit to His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Yeah.
Jai Prabhuji.
Sorry.
Yes, Prabhuji. It's wonderful that he
Yeah.
did not stop even
Yeah.
in the very difficult health situation.
Yeah. So his that's why it said like Prabhupada's blood, every drop is in his literary form of Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah. So you saw that some coincidences always are there, na Dinath Prabhu. Here also you saw 10th of May was the completion of the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Today is
Yes,
10th May. And then there was something, what is that? Akshaya? Something we read here also. And today is Akshaya Tritiya. Good. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Holiness Satsvarupa Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Antakoti Vaishnava ki jai. Jai Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Have a nice evening. Tomorrow, I don't know. It all depends whether I'll be in hospital or here. If I'm in hospital, then I can't conduct Bhagavatam. Otherwise, let's see if we can catch up tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Prabhuji.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guruji.